Aloha, everyone. We're going to give everybody a couple of minutes here to join. We'll start at about 2 minutes after the hour. Okay, we're still seeing people joining, but I think we'll go ahead and get started. Aloha and welcome. I'm Dana Garland, Executive Director here at Pacific Well Foundation, and I'm so thankful you've all joined us here for our first 2025 virtual update covering the first half of the year. As we reflect on 2025 so far, one theme rises to the surface: the strength we find in community and shared purpose. Everything you'll see and hear today has been made possible because of you, our community. Whether you're joining us as a donor, partner, volunteer, or someone who cares deeply about our ocean, your support is more than a contribution. It's a commitment to the future. It's a statement of hope, and it fuels everything we do. So before we get started this morning, we're just a couple of quick housekeeping notes. We will have a Q&A time, question and answer time, after our team presentations today. You can submit questions for the team at any time using the Q&A button at the top of your screen. We'll do our best to answer as many as we can at the end of our session today. And then also a recording will be available after the session if you'd like to revisit or share with others. Okay, let's jump in. Next slide. I want to take a moment as we get started today to recognize our incredible team of leaders and board members whose commitment truly shaped the direction of our work. Recognizing the need for a broader representation and expertise, we expanded our board policies this year to allow for up to 19 members. Today, we're honored to have 15 active board members, 2 emeritus members, and an advisory council. This is a major step forward in strengthening our organization's reach and resilience. We are deeply grateful for the generosity of time and talent that this group brings. Their experience and expertise spanning finance, business, education, science, philanthropy, hospitality, and community organizing helps ensure that we're not only responsive to today's challenges, but prepared for the future. Thank you all for joining us. Next slide. So at the core of everything we do at Pacific Well Foundation is our mission: to protect the ocean through science and advocacy, and to inspire environmental stewardship. We were founded here on the island of Maui, and that place identity is more than geographic. It grounds us in deep kuleana, a responsibility to care for the land and the ocean, and to act in service of the communities that shape our mission. Our work now reaches coastlines across the Pacific, but we remain firmly rooted here in Hawaiian values like Malama Ike Kai, to care for the ocean, and in a commitment to being an ally to Indigenous and coastal communities everywhere we serve. Our approach reflects the way we work and who we work with. We're grounded in science and powered by community, guided by environmental advocacy and cultural integrity. We're committed to intergenerational education from Keiki to Kupuna, and we are focused on identifying threats, inspiring action, and building a shared future where marine life and human communities thrive together. We do this work through 5 key areas of focus: cetacean research and advocacy, youth education and workforce development, marine debris removal and prevention, community-led stewardship of Moi's Aina, and ecotourism, both as an educational platform and to support our programmatic work. We're excited to be able to share with you today from many of those programs. And with that foundation, I'm now going to hand it off to Dr. Shannon Barber-Meyer, our Senior Research Manager, to talk about our research efforts during this first half of the year. Shannon, over to you.
Aloha e kako. Hello, everyone. Here where I'm based in Hawaii, many people know us for our local whale and dolphin research, but we also conduct long-term studies across the Pacific in Australia, Ecuador, and Chile. Our research tackles 5 of the biggest threats that these animals face: vessel collisions, fisheries bycatch, unsustainable tourism, climate change, and marine plastic pollution. I'm super excited to get to share with you today a few examples of how our work is making a difference now and will continue into the future. Right here in Hawaii, fewer than 150 endangered false killer whales remain. They often get hooked or entangled while taking fish from long lines. To understand this threat better, we're using CATS tags. These are temporary suction cup devices that collect video, movement, and sound data. In early 2025, our team deployed only the 5th CATS tag that has ever been placed on these endangered false killer whales. Our high-tech approach helps us learn what these animals are eating and how they hunt, critical insights for recovery efforts. And just this week, we collected photos of a group of false killer whales that, according to our photo ID catalog expert, Grace Olson, included a female that we've been tracking since 2014, but we hadn't seen it at PWF since 2022. And sadly, that female now has a collapsed dorsal fin, likely due to a fishing-related injury. Moving through the Pacific, in Chile, we're studying one of the most endangered whale populations in the world, the Chile-Peru southern right whale. Fewer than 50 mature animals remain in this population, and our team recently documented dead calves showing signs of vessel strikes and entanglement. We're monitoring threats, including the aggressive industrial salmon farming that overlap with their habitat. These data will help shape future protections for this fragile population. In addition to studying the southern right whale in Chile, this March we celebrated the team's 22nd field season studying the Chilean blue whale, and we're already looking forward to next season. In Australia, we've just launched a new multi-year study on the typically elusive Australian humpback dolphin found in small coastal populations and seen in the picture here. They're doing a little bit more display than we normally see them in the wild. So normally they're a bit harder to detect, but there's a fun photo of them showing off their leaping ability there. Our work will provide vital estimates and lay the foundation for long-term monitoring, which is essential to protecting these vulnerable animals that are exposed to high levels of human activity and habitat loss. And I want to give a shout out to Ecuador's research team's programs director, Dr. Cristina Castro, for being recognized this year by 2 influential magazines as one of 5 women that are shaping Ecuador's future. What makes PWF unique is that our science doesn't just sit on a shelf. It informs real-world solutions, and it feeds directly into our conservation and education programs. For example, the ongoing Go Slow Whales Below conservation campaign, which encourages boaters to reduce speed around whales and includes other guidelines to minimize negative impacts to whales, grew in part out of our research. We're so proud to be a nonprofit that is making global waves, but we can't do it without the backing of partners like you, especially as traditional federal funding for research becomes more limited. So thank you so much for your support and for caring about our ocean. Mahalo nui loa. And now I'm going to turn it over to Lauren Spencer, our amazing lead education specialist. Lauren?
Thank you so much, Shannon. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Lauren Spencer, and I'm the lead education specialist with Pacific Whale Foundation. I'm very excited to share some of our programs, some of the events we participated in, and some fun facts about our students we served in quarter 1 and 2. I am going to start with our Keiki Whale Watch program. This is a program that is one of my favorites. This is our school whale watching field trip program we provide to students in Maui County. This season in 2025, we served 1,109 students on our Keiki Whale Watch trips. These programs include us going to the schools, meeting with these classes, performing an education lesson or activity, and then having the amazing opportunity to take these students out on our Pac Whale Eco Adventure boats to get out in the wild and experience these whales in their habitat. It is undescribable to share how amazing it is to see these students react to whales, to see them on the water, the joy on their faces. I do not have words. I can share that we did work with 23 school groups across Maui this season. We also rewarded 349 scholarships to Title I students on Maui. And this is my favorite fact of the season. We were able to introduce students, about 220, to humpback whales for the first time in their lives. Over our program, we do reporting with our students. 220 self-reported they had never seen humpback whales before our trips, and each of our trips we were able to see whales, which means 220 students on Maui were able to see humpback whales for the first time in their lives. That was such a special experience to share with them. We also had the awesome opportunity to share Ohana, our life-size inflatable whale, here on Maui. And also for the first time ever, we took her off island to Oahu to the Hawaii STEM conference. That was a great opportunity to connect with many faculty, teachers, and staff from Maui, Oahu, Molokai, and Hawaii Island. So very special opportunity there. And thanks to the Young Brothers for their support in getting her over to Oahu. We also had 4 sessions of Ocean Camp, our day camp program in quarter 1 and 2. We served 78 students, 50 of which received full scholarships to attend. Each of these weeks has a unique theme, from exploring the lives of sharks and rays, to the endangered species of Hawaii, to the polar regions. We're diving into different topics each week. And we had some really fun experiences and even some new field trips this quarter, including a trip up to Haleakala to Hosmer's Grove to investigate and to study the forest bird species up there. That was very special. What else do we have? That's about most of the updates I have for education. I have 2 specific shout outs from our education team that I would love to share. First, we were very excited to hire a new education specialist in quarter 2, and that is Ashley Hechevarria. And we were so excited to have her on the team. With her help, we were able to complete 5 sessions of Ocean Camp this summer. So special. Her expertise is so needed, and we are very, very blessed to have her on the team. And I would also love to shout out those who volunteered with education over quarter 1 and quarter 2. We had some really wonderful volunteers from the public and from within our staff at Pac Whale and PWF come join us for our Keiki Whale Watch trips and our Ocean Camp. So if you're one of those folks, thank you so much for spending your time with us and investing in our Keiki. That's all I have for education. We're very excited to see where we go into this new school year. And I'm going to pass it off to Bree, our conservation biologist and outreach supervisor.
Aloha kako. Hello everyone. Mahalo Lolo for the introduction. My name is Bree Simon. I'm the conservation biologist and outreach supervisor here at Pacific Whale Foundation. And I'm so excited to share our first 2 quarters with you. We had quite the impact. The areas that we really focus on in conservation is marine debris removal, marine debris prevention, as well as community engagement through different various programs. So we do have a number of programs, 5 programs, that deal with marine debris work. So we have our Adopt a Beach program, where residents here can adopt a beach that's near to their and dear to their heart and take care of that space. We also have the Coastal Marine Debris Monitoring Program, where visitors or maybe non-committal people want to do a cleanup for a one-time only, and that data collection is super valuable, as well as our community cleanup days in Ma'alai Harbor, where we go out and work and do our daily grind, as well as our very involved reef cleanup dives, where you see in my background a scuba diver down at the reef at Ke'one'o'io, La Perouse Bay. It's also known as dumps because it was used heavily as a dump before. We estimated last year about 8 tons of recreational fishing gear in the area. Last year, or this past 2 quarters, we were able to remove about 1,200 pounds of the recreational fishing gear that has built up and did a lot of damage on the coral reef ecosystems. And our other program that has been very exciting last year and this year is the Marine Debris Rapid Response Program, where we go out and respond to large derelict fishing gear that washes ashore from usually the Great Pacific Garbage Patch from those commercial fishers. And so the number that you're seeing here on that screen, the 9,311 pounds, a large portion of that comes from the Marine Debris Rapid Response. This year so far, we have collected about 8,000 pounds. So that includes, outside of Q1 and Q2, but Q1, Q2 is about 7,500 pounds of that gear that washes ashore on Maui's coastline, as well as this image here shows a diving team off of Molokai, where we did our first in-water response for a net that was kept down, wrapping around coral. And then a week after that, we went and did our reef cleanup dives, and also was alerted about a net that was stuck on the reef. So we were able to do back-to-back in-water removal. So it's all thanks to the team here for the Conservation Department, as well as Paco Eco Adventures and the volunteers that really help us out to remove this dangerous gear. And then we were also very happily excited to go to Oahu to be a part of the Pilina Kanaloa Day at the Capitol to really share and spread the awareness of ocean conservation and the need for these programs to really persist here in the Hawaiian Islands. And we had a lot of volunteers participate, 572 participated with all of the efforts through the community cleanup days. I often ask volunteers if they're interested in helping me remove the large gear that washes ashore. So that is a really fun way to get involved and feel that immediate impact from our shorelines, as well as we've reached large areas across Maui by doing those cleanups. And then now I would like to talk about our outreach side of things. You can switch down to that. Sweet. So for outreach, we have an amazing program that I would love to share with you all if you don't know already, which is our Malama Pono program. Our Malama Pono program allows us to connect and engage with community partners that are doing Aina restoration all the way from Mauka, from the mountain, to Makai, to the ocean. There's this holistic approach of taking care of Aina, taking care of the land. And so we feel very lucky to be able to provide the support to our partners, the extra hands that they need to really get the work done to help heal the land. Because once we heal the land, we heal ourselves. So mahalo to all of the volunteers that have participated in the Malama Pono program so far. And if you would love to join us, we have weekly opportunities where we get to go to Kipuka Olowalu, we get to go to Hawaii Land Trust and really learn about what they're doing on more of a regenerative approach, but also why it's also so culturally important to make sure these areas are preserved and practiced in our daily lives. So I think doing a connection that way is very important. So we were able to provide 573 hours of service to these partners within the first 2 quarters, which is huge, as well as had many participants, 332 people engaged through that Malama Pono program. And again, with 27 volunteers at this program, not only through the Aina-based work, but also through the Makai side of things, you're able to really engage with the conservation team and participate in those harbor cleanups and really learn from our partners and do more collaboration across the land. So not only learning about the amazing work that we do here at Pacific Whale Foundation, but also talking about the incredible work that is happening on our islands as well. And with that, I will pass it off to our Director of Ecotours, Alyssa Moser.
Hey everyone, good morning or maybe good afternoon, wherever you are. Thanks for having me. So I'm going to discuss a little bit about the ecotourism impact that Pac Whale has had over the first 6 months of the year. So first and foremost, all the stats that you see on the board, this work is focused on sustainability and of course, working with Pacific Whale Foundation to ensure that we're supporting their programs, whether that's through donation, education on board, or volunteer hours in their Malama Pono programs. So we're excited to be able to collaborate and support as best we can. Over the first 6 months of the year, we made great progress in building a new sailing vessel, Kaiko. This vessel is being built in St. Croix. She's very near completion. We've had to slow down a little bit due to hurricane season in St. Croix, but as soon as hurricane season's over, we'll be able to launch the vessel sometime at the end of October, send our delivery crew there and bring her home to Maui. So we're very excited to be adding her to our fleet. We've been working hard on getting that design and construction done since the end of 2023. So it's been a long time coming and we'll be happy to have her here for the upcoming whale season. She's going to be a great platform for education and all of our immersive experiences. The same builder as Ocean Spirit, so that's actually where I am today. So if you've been aboard with us, it'll have a similar feel to Ocean Spirit. Along those same lines of kind of advancing our fleet in terms of sustainability, earlier this year, we repowered Ocean Explorer. It was just time for her engines to be replaced. And that brings our entire fleet into Tier 3 emission standards, which is great for us and for the planet. So that improves our emission standards, our fuel and oil efficiency. So we have a lot of other ways that we work to do that, but there's no better way than to have an engine to start with that is very efficient and a little bit more advanced than some of our older engines that we used to have. As far as our onboard programs go, if you've been out with us before, you might have experienced a thematic program focused on science or the islands or some of our programs that PWF is working on. And this year we were finally able to certify 10 of our naturalists as interpretive guides through the National Association for Interpretation. It was really exciting. We were able to get 3 of our management staff certified as instructors through that same program in 2023. But due to the Lahaina fires, we had to put that program on hold. And so this year, we're finally able to get 10 of our staff through that course and certified as interpretive guides once again. So we're excited to kind of relaunch that program, reinvest in our onboard experience to make it a better experience for everybody and all of our supporters coming out. And last but not least, Leilani Oshiro, she's our retail director. She can't be here today, but she's been working very hard for the first 6 months of the year, getting our newest edition, the Ocean Store in Kihei, up and running. So if you find yourself down in Kihei, across from Kalama Park is where our new Ocean Store is located, has all the same great eco-conscious products. It's a really beautiful store, so please stop in, check us out, support Leilani and her team, and find your eco-conscious gifts. That's it from the EcoTour side. Thank you. I'll pass it off to Josh Hemowitz, our Chief Development Officer.
Thank you. Aloha, and thanks for being here today. I'm going to start off by sharing a brief financial update for the first half of the year, then talk about how you can continue to support and strengthen our mission. Our revenue snapshot, which you see there on the screen, our total budgeted revenue for the first 6 months of the year across both program income and fundraising, our target was just over 1 million at $1,914,000. We ended June with 882,141, about 88% of our target. Well, that's a strong overall showing. It's a story of two sides. Fell a little bit short on our program revenue. And we also fell a little bit short on the fundraising side, but we did hit 90% of our fundraising goal. The good news is that individual giving, including our membership program, has been a real bright spot. We brought in nearly $600,000, $596,876 against a goal of $344,000, exceeding our target by more than 76%. The surge is largely thanks to new and increased support from a number of our major donors, which we really appreciate. Challenges on revenue streams. We're really significantly behind in corporate giving, foundation grants, and government and public funding. We aim to raise $363,500 from these sources by the middle of the year, but have only brought in $115,000, putting us 68% behind our target in those revenue categories. We also received a $450,000 dividend from our social enterprise, Packwell Eco Adventures, which was right on budget and a critical part of our revenue model. With all sources combined, our total revenue for the first 6 months was $1,332,141. On the expense side, we budgeted to be at 1.6 million. But we've only spent 1.4, a positive variance of 15%, which reflects our commitment to fiscal responsibility during this period where we continue to work towards stabilizing our financial position. Bottom line, we ended the first half of the year $125,000 better than planned, with a deficit of just over $70,000, which we are actively working to close. Looking ahead to the rest of the year, we still have important ground to cover. To meet our full year revenue goal, which is just under 3.2 million. We certainly cannot do it alone. Next slide, please. And there's a number of ways that you can support. One is, if you are a member, continue that membership. If you're not, we would love to have you join our membership program. It comes with a lot of nice incentives, and also knowing that you're supporting Pacific Whale Foundation in a real meaningful way. A straight donation as well also makes a huge difference. We love our volunteers. You heard a lot of my colleagues share about all the different volunteer opportunities we have in our programs. We also have opportunities as an Ocean Ambassador volunteer in our store, sharing with our customers and passengers about the different opportunities to be involved with the foundation. The other thing that we really would love help with is connecting us with others in your networks. You heard me a minute ago just share about our struggle on the foundation and corporate side. We have a really new, robust corporate sponsorship and partnership program. If you have businesses that are aligned with our mission and values, we would love a friendly introduction. If you're associated with any trustees on foundations that care about our environment, our whales, our dolphins, we would also love any warm introductions there. They make a big difference. We also have lots of other ways to engage and actively participate. Next week at Divine Wine Lounge, we'll be hosting a Wine and Whales Wednesday. If you're here in Kihei, it's a new shop. Excited to partner with them. We also have a new partnership with Maui Kuio Estate every other Sunday starting in the middle of August. 100% of the tours from the Chocolate Factory tours will benefit Pacific Whale Foundation. I went on one earlier this year. It's really amazing. And if you like chocolate, there's nothing better. During the month of September, we will have our Race for Whales, which is a peer-to-peer fundraising effort, as well as an endurance challenge. You can run, walk, paddle, any way you can track your miles. You can do it from anywhere in the world, sharing about our work while you're getting a little exercise in and hopefully raising a few dollars to help support our mission. And then finally, want to spend a second just talking about next February. From the 9th to 15th, it will be the 45th anniversary of World Whale Day, which will this year, to recognize both 45 years of World Whale Day, as well as Pacific Whale Foundation's 45th anniversary, which will occur this December, in a week-long celebration. So we will have activities on all sides of the island throughout the week. Palama Pono projects that Bree talked about before. You can get out, get your hands dirty, help Maui, engage, see things that you wouldn't normally get to see and make a difference. We'll have some specialty whale watches. We'll have a really fun Blue Tie Gala, a fundraising event on Friday night at Makai Glass in Makawao, and a number of other events throughout that week, a community day. So if you're not here in Maui and you're planning a trip, that would be an awesome week to come and help us celebrate. And that's all I got today, but feel free to reach out anytime with questions. And I know we have questions up, so I'm going to turn it back to Dana to facilitate that process.
Okay, great. We're going to transition now to Q&A. I know we have several questions queued here already, but as a reminder, if you have a question, please do use that question and answer button at the top of the screen to submit your question. And our moderators are going to pass through questions for the team. So it looks like we've had several questions here submitted. I will start with the first one. It looks like for research. Shannon, why have you only deployed 5 CATS tags?
Yeah, it's funny to say only 5 because 5 is like a huge success for us. It's incredible that we're even talking about what we're learning from these tags on false killer whales because before you can successfully deploy it on a false killer whale, we first even needed to test it for deeper water. The original tags, the earlier versions of tags, when we were trying to tag false killer whales, they're quite hard to find and encounter and get close to. I'll explain that in a second. But so originally the tags that we put out were on short-finned pilot whales. Those are another blackfish species here in Hawaii, and they also dive deeply like false killer whales do. False killer whales, by the way, can dive up even exceeding 1,000 meters. So the first tags that were sent down with short-finned pilot whales, these came back with the housing crushed because of the pressure being too great that far down. So that alerted the team to the need for revising the tag with the folks that make these to come up with a tag that can withstand the pressures that false killer whales would bring the tag down into. So then why only 5 now that we've got the tag that can go deep enough? It is very hard in a population of less than 150 that moves around the main Hawaiian Islands to actually even encounter the species, first of all. So when you are lucky enough to encounter false killer whales, we're out on our surveys looking for them, they're often in deeper waters, and unless they are foraging, they are usually traveling very quickly. That's a feature of their foraging ecology, and that is partly why they have such high nutritional demands, because they're just moving very quickly. That's one of the things we've confirmed by putting these tags out as well, is their high sustained rates of swim. So first you have to catch up to them. And then when you catch up to them, to be able to deploy one of these tags, they're on the end of a long pole. Oh, you can see the boat right behind me. This is our research vessel, Kaiau. So off the pulpit is where the person who has one of the CATS tags to deploy on a false killer whale stands. They stand on that pulpit. And then there's a carbon fiber pole that extends off from the pulpit and has this tag on the end of it. So we have to get within the pole length distance to a false killer whale in order to put the tag on. But not only that, the animal has to be in the sweet spot where the pole can reach and the tag can face boop, on the right direction. Otherwise, the video doesn't work properly. And so it has to be put on right in a specific area of the animal's body. And so it's very difficult to catch up with them. It's difficult to catch their surfacing because they're often up for 2 surfacings and then they dive again. So you can imagine this group is usually often spread out quite a ways as well. So if one pops up, oh, it's over there, go. You have a surfacing to get over there. And then there's one more chance maybe before it goes down again. So it's exceptionally hard to put the tags on them. It's much different than, for example, a short finned pilot whale because they are known for surfacing in groups and they don't swim as fast and they even will log at the surface sometimes. Sometimes they'll look like little licorice gumdrops, just spy hopping, checking you out. So very different behaviors. But there are times when false killer whales are foraging. They are known to pass fish between each other. And so sometimes they'll be in a group with a fish circling around. And when that happens, their movements are unpredictable, but they're less fast. And so sometimes we can get tags on them in that instance as well. And we deployed 2 tags in one foraging group once. So that was pretty incredible. So what are we learning from these 5 tags that we've put out? Like I said, we are confirming that they're high sustained speeds of swim. We're documenting prey capture events. So what are they eating at what depths? We're understanding their behavior better, and we're seeing interspecies events. Basically, we are creating a complete picture of their resource needs, the false killer whales, and their foraging ecology. Now that, in combination with the body condition data that we get from drone imagery that we fly above the animals, we take images of their bodies in the water and can see how large they are, what volume they have for their total length and width. And that gives us an indication of whether these animals are nutritionally stressed and if that's what's potentially limiting their recovery. Super important information to get to decision makers, policymakers who can make conservation interventions to help the declining endangered false killer whale population.
Thank you, Shannon. Okay, looking through here. We have a question for education for Lauren. What topics and other experiences are included in Ocean Camp? And then part 2 of this, how do the camps promote conservation and STEM?
Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to share more about our Ocean Camp program. So each week of Ocean Camp has a unique theme that will guide the activities, the lessons, and the field trips for the week. Something that separates Ocean Camp from many camps on islands, and I think in other places as well, is that we take our students on dedicated field trips every day outside of our classroom space into the environment where they're either on the ocean, on the land, in a space where they can be outside, breathe the fresh air, touch grass. Some of these field trips include our weekly snorkel trips with Packwell Eco Adventures, and other field trips include trips that are focused on that unique theme of the week. Some of those field trips might be, like I mentioned earlier, up to Hosmer's Grove. We have done tide pooling. We take trips with our partners at the Maui Ocean Center to go there, and especially on our Shark Weeks. That's such a perfect field trip. We have gone to Kalia Pond. We go to some of our Malama Pono partners that Bree mentioned, like Ka'ehu and Kipoko Olowalu. So we're really intentional about getting our students educated, not in only the classroom space, but also in the environment as well. But in the classroom space, we're still having a lot of fun with them with various lessons, crafts, games, all of which are science focused, and especially focused on empowering these students to, 1, understand the environment around them, and 2, give them the knowledge to make decisions that are better for the environment too, or to share that knowledge with their families so their families can make educated decisions together. That's just a little bit about our Ocean Camp programs. A few fun activities I wanted to highlight from this summer were our ecosystem rock, paper, scissors game, which is super fun, where students play rock, paper, scissors and either evolve up the ecosystem or fall down, depending on the result of rock, paper, scissors. We also did a very fun penguin PE challenge where we had students replicating different strategies or challenges penguins face in the wild to see if they can live up to the penguin lifestyle. And we also did some really fun ocean advocacy art this summer, which was really great, from collages to posters to having students envision their perfect environmental solutions to different problems we discussed over the week. So we have a lot of fun at Ocean Camp, and I'm always happy to talk more about it as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Lauren. Okay, how has, let's see, this question is for Bree. How has PWF strengthened collaboration with local environmental partners, like Grow Some Good, my Nui Seabird Recovery Project?
Awesome. I love the question. I love talking about our Malama Pono program. It's really taken off in the past year, in this past 2 quarters. I think the strengthening aspect goes to show with the consistency. So we've consistently been showing up week after week, month after month with all of these partners, and it shows that we are like a reliable source, a reliable team that is working hard to try to bring as many volunteers to the sites to help with the restoration in these areas and the education of these areas, as well as possibly going in on grants together, you know, coming together as a community to apply for funding opportunities that can promote both organizations has really strengthened the collaboration and willingness to work together to lift up each other in their missions and I think unified goal of trying to make this planet a better planet. And as well as what Lolo said, Lauren from education, just going to those places with the keiki, with those kiddos, and utilizing that relationship and being able to have not only conservation and outreach engage with our partners, but also education and the rest of our organization has been amazing. Thank you for that question.
Okay, thank you, Bree. The question came in about our new advocacy initiative. Bree, maybe you can take this question. What is PWF's new advocacy initiative about? How does it aim to influence federal marine policies?
Yeah, so our new advocacy initiative, if you aren't already, there's a link we can send you or showcase for you on signing up to get newsletters about what's really happening and how people can be involved with different things that are happening in the federal fields that are trying to, we're trying to protect the marine life species, the marine life environment, the environment that they, that is so important for them to survive and rely on. So if people are interested in learning about those advocacy efforts, they could follow it through the newsletter, or you could go onto our website. We have a page directly that talks about this work, as well as our social media. So if you aren't already following Pacific Whale Foundation on Instagram, Facebook, we're broadcasting the work that needs to be done or the efforts that maybe we're asking you all to take to help support these initiatives that will keep our marine life protected for generations to come.
Thank you, Bree. Okay, we have another question that just came in with regard to expenses. Timothy shares, I've noticed expenses From 2014 through 21, increased about 5 to 7% a year. And then in 22, 23, and 24, they were doubled, 21, or over 21, and then wondering what the main driver of those expenses going up. And then making the observation, of course, that this year our expenses are projected to be back down again. So thank you, Tim. The observation that you've made is directly related to the fire. So coming off of, actually it's related to the pandemic and then later the fire. Coming off of the pandemic, we had a huge surge in tourism here on Maui. And that surge in tourism increased our revenue significantly. And in our social enterprise model, that meant additional funding from the net profit of Pac Whale Eco Adventures was able to be funneled into Pacific Whale Foundation to support programs. And we were able to expand those programs significantly. In 2024, we also received some grant funding to support some programmatic work that was directly related to the fires. So we received a grant from Hawaii Community Foundation to significantly expand our Keiki Whale Watch program in 2024. Unfortunately, we did not receive that funding because of shifting goals for objectives for Hawaii Community Foundation. That decrease that you've seen coming into this year, unfortunately, is reflected in a reduction in staff and programmatic work. We've worked really hard to preserve our community commitments and prioritize those critical and high impact projects, but we significantly had to cut back on what we were able to do right now, and tragically that impacted staff. So we are working with the team, plus a couple of others that you don't see here. Lauren mentioned Ashley. Bree works with a very small team with Susan, a couple of people in research. So very small team doing a lot of great work. And we are, really working on building back up those programs through our grant applications and through supporters like all of you, and hoping to get back to what we know we can do together with that funding. Looks like we have another question came in here. Any plans in the works to resume cruises of Lahaina? Moser, do you want to take that question?
Sure, I can see that question. So we would love to resume cruises from Lahaina if and when the harbor reopens and the county and the state believe that it's the right time to do so. So we are patiently waiting for that opportunity. Our vessels, we have 2 vessels that could operate from Lahaina, Ocean Spirit and Ocean Discovery. So it's just a matter of the state and the county being able to reopen that space.
Thank you, Moser. Okay. I think we are coming to the end of our questions list. I'll pause for just a moment here in case someone has another burning. Oh, nope, there's another one. Is there a satellite in Alaska? Satellite location, I think maybe Carol's referring to. Shannon, you spoke a little bit about our partnerships in a recent event. Could you speak to our partnership with Alaska Whale Foundation a little bit?
Sure. So the whales that we track, the humpback whales that we track here in Hawaii, of course, don't live here year round. And so many of the whales here in Hawaii spend their feeding season in Southeast Alaska, British Columbia areas. So we have cooperators that help us by sharing their research, and we share with them to track the same exact whales that are visiting both places. So we can see if their calves survived, we can look at changes in their body condition over time. We can look at long-term survival. So instead of having a satellite Pacific Whale Foundation there, what we've done is connect with researchers that are already working in that area and form cooperative relationships with them so that together we're able to have synergistic outcomes that yield better products than if each of us were just doing our work on our own. We also have cooperative relationships with university, academia, professionals in the area for other research questions.
Thank you, Shannon. All right, I'm double checking here. I think that's the last of our questions. I think we can go to the next slide. And if there are any questions that you have that you weren't able to answer today, or that we didn't get to today, or that you did not ask that pop up later, please feel free to reach out. But I just want to say thank you again for joining us today. We're thrilled to be able to start these impact reports through this virtual platform. We will be sending out the complete impact report as a PDF, interactive PDF, along with the recording next week. And look forward to connecting with you all toward the end of the year. So until next time, aloha. Thank you for joining us.